What if the key to everything you've ever wanted is hidden inside your mind? In this audiobook, you'll uncover the science behind how your thoughts shape your reality. The power to change your life is within you. Are you ready to unlock it and achieve the impossible? Introduction. Are you ready to unlock your full potential and achieve the extraordinary? What if everything you've ever dreamed of, success, happiness, fulfillment, was not as out of reach as you've been led to believe? In fact, it could be closer than you think. The key to transforming your life doesn't lie in external circumstances, but rather in the way you think. That's right. Your thoughts are more powerful than you ever imagined, and the moment you harness that power, your life will never be the same again. Welcome to Mastering Positive Thinking. Unlock your potential and achieve the impossible. In this journey, we'll explore how your thoughts shape your reality, how shifting your mindset can break the barriers that hold you back, and how you can start living the life you've always wanted. Starting today. This isn't just another motivational speech or vague advice about thinking happy thoughts. No, this is about understanding the science and psychology behind how your mind works and using it to your advantage. What if you could train your mind to always look for opportunities, even in the toughest situations? What if you could develop unshakable confidence in your abilities and take bold actions toward your dreams, knowing that you have the power to achieve them? Imagine waking up every day with a sense of purpose, clarity, and unstoppable energy. That's what we're diving into. By the end of this chapter, you'll understand the true power of thought and why positive thinking isn't just some fluffy feel-good notion. It's a scientifically backed method for rewiring your brain to attract success, happiness, and everything you've been striving for. Don't let this moment slip away. Keep reading, because your transformation starts right now. The power of thought. What if I told you that your thoughts are shaping every aspect of your life right now? Every decision, every success, every setback, and every opportunity is a reflection of how you think. This isn't some mystical idea. It's backed by science. Your brain is not a passive observer of life. It's actively creating your reality. Every thought you have is sending signals throughout your nervous system, influencing your emotions, your actions, and even the way others respond to you. Let's break this down. The human brain is wired to focus on patterns. When you repeat certain thoughts over and over again, your brain begins to form neural pathways that reinforce these thoughts. Over time, these pathways become so ingrained that they form the lens through which you view the world. So, if you constantly think negative thoughts, "I'm not good enough," "I'll never succeed," or "this will never work," your brain will start to look for evidence to support those beliefs, effectively making them your reality. But what if you could rewire those pathways? What if, instead of focusing on limitations, you trained your brain to focus on opportunities, possibilities, and solutions? That's the essence of positive thinking. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to see the possibilities, even in the face of challenges. By mastering your thoughts, you can change your life. Why positive thinking isn't just wishful thinking? You might be thinking, "This all sounds great, but isn't positive thinking just wishful thinking?" Isn't it naive to believe that simply thinking positively will change anything? It's a fair question, and one that I'm glad you're asking. Because here's the truth. Positive thinking isn't about blindly ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about developing a mindset that helps you navigate challenges with resilience, optimism, and creativity. It's a strategy for rewiring your brain to move beyond your limitations. Positive thinking isn't magic. It's psychology. Studies show that those who maintain a positive mindset are more likely to take action, bounce back from failure, and find solutions to problems that others might not see. It's not about denying that problems exist. It's about acknowledging the difficulties while maintaining the belief that you have the power to overcome them. Positive thinking gives you the tools to face obstacles with confidence and turn setbacks into learning experiences. Think of it this way: every challenge in life is an opportunity in disguise. But if you approach that challenge with a negative mindset, you'll likely become paralyzed by fear and self-doubt. Positive thinking helps you reframe challenges as opportunities for growth. It shifts your focus from what's going wrong to what's still possible, and it encourages you to take bold action instead of staying stuck in inaction. So no, positive thinking isn't about pretending life is without its challenges. It's about having the mental tools to face those challenges head-on and transform them into something productive. The magic doesn't come from wishing things will work out. It comes from your ability to think, act, and believe in ways that increase your chances of success. Overview of the journey ahead. Are you ready to take the first step on the road to transformation? In the chapters that follow, we'll dive deep into the principles and techniques that will help you master positive thinking and unlock your true potential. You'll learn how to rewire your brain to think more effectively, how to build unshakable confidence, how to create habits that lead to success, and how to use the power of your thoughts to shape your reality. This is not just a book for reading. It's a roadmap for action, a guide that will challenge you to step out of your comfort zone and start seeing the world differently. Throughout this journey, you'll be guided by a series of principles that, when applied consistently, will lead to lasting change. We'll break down complex psychological concepts into actionable steps so you'll not only understand the science of positive thinking, but also how to apply it to your everyday life. We'll explore how to shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, how to manage self-doubt, and how to cultivate resilience in the face of challenges. This is your invitation to step into a new way of thinking, acting, and being. But here's the thing: your transformation begins the moment you decide to take action. The information in this book will only work if you commit to applying it. So, as you embark on this journey, ask yourself one question: are you ready to step into the life you've always dreamed of? Because the path to your success, happiness, and fulfillment begins with the simple yet powerful decision to change the way you think. The clock is ticking, and the life you've always imagined is waiting for you. Let's get started. Chapter 1: The Power of Positive Thinking. What is positive thinking? From the very first moment we gain consciousness each day, our minds begin to process, evaluate, and interpret the world around us. This mental activity isn't passive. It's a constant, flowing stream of judgments, reactions, questions, and assumptions. And at the center of it all is our mindset, the filter through which we experience life. Positive thinking, at its essence, is not simply about cheerfulness or blind optimism. It's about deliberately choosing a mental posture that empowers rather than disables us. It's a conscious commitment to look for solutions instead of ruminating on problems, to expect growth where others see stagnation, and to meet challenges not with defeat, but with resolve. Many people misunderstand positive thinking as a form of denial, as if practicing it means ignoring hardship or glossing over pain with platitudes. In truth, positive thinking is one of the most courageous choices a person can make. It requires seeing clearly, acknowledging reality in all its complexity, but refusing to be ruled by fear, despair, or helplessness. It's an active stance against hopelessness, one that involves choosing empowering interpretations of events rather than allowing circumstances to dictate your emotional state. It's the quiet decision to believe in the potential for good outcomes, even in difficult situations, and to take actions that support those beliefs. Far from naive, true positive thinking is deeply grounded in mental strength and emotional maturity. Positive thinking does not guarantee a pain-free life. What it offers is a more resilient inner world, one that can weather external storms with grace and purpose. To truly understand the power of this mindset, consider how different your days might feel if your dominant thoughts leaned toward hope, opportunity, and agency, rather than fear, lack, or helplessness. Picture facing a setback, a lost job, a failed relationship, a missed goal. The negative thinker spirals into blame, shame, or despair. The positive thinker pauses, assesses, grieves if necessary, but ultimately turns inward with a productive question. What can I do with this? That single question marks the difference between stagnation and transformation. In its most authentic form, positive thinking is not a state of pretending everything is okay. It's the steady, honest belief that you have the power to grow through what you go through, and that there is value, even if not immediately visible, in every experience. It's less about being positive in every moment, and more about returning, again and again, to a mindset that nurtures perseverance, clarity, and self-trust. The science behind optimism. Understanding positive thinking also requires looking at what modern science reveals about how our thoughts shape our lives. The brain is not a static organ. It adapts, changes, and rewires itself continuously in response to repeated patterns of thought and behavior, a process known as neuroplasticity. This means the way we habitually think can literally reprogram the structure and function of our brain. When we consistently engage in positive thinking, when we direct our focus toward possibility, gratitude, compassion, and solution-seeking, we are building and strengthening neural pathways that support well-being, confidence, and emotional resilience. On the other hand, chronic negativity, worry, and rumination reinforce the brain's threat detection systems, amplifying anxiety and diminishing our ability to adapt or respond constructively to stress. This is not theoretical. Functional MRI scans have shown distinct changes in the brain as a result of cognitive and emotional training. The more we practice optimism and reframing, the easier and more automatic those responses become. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's about training your brain to respond to them with a sense of internal strength and hope. In fact, research by psychologist Dr. Barbara Fredrickson developed what is known as the broaden and build theory of positive emotions. According to her findings, positive emotions like joy, interest, and gratitude expand our awareness and open us up to new ideas, behaviors, and relationships. This broadened perspective allows us to build lasting personal resources, such as social connections, coping strategies, and mental agility that contribute to overall life satisfaction and resilience. The opposite is also true. Negative emotions, while useful in acute threats, tend to narrow our focus and limit our capacity for problem solving. In short bursts, fear or anger can sharpen attention and mobilize energy. But when these states become chronic, they shrink our cognitive bandwidth and lead to tunnel vision, making us reactive rather than responsive. Positive thinking doesn't mean you avoid negative emotions. It means you don't let them dominate or define you. It allows for a more balanced emotional ecosystem where you acknowledge pain, but also allow space for gratitude, where you process disappointment, but still hold on to vision. This shift has real-life consequences. Studies have shown that individuals who consistently think positively have lower rates of depression, better cardiovascular health, improved immune function, and even longer lifespans. One compelling example of how this manifests can be seen in the placebo effect, a phenomenon where people experience real, measurable improvements in health after receiving a treatment that has no therapeutic value simply because they believe it will help. The belief itself, the expectation of healing, activates powerful biochemical responses in the brain and body. It's a striking reminder that what we believe doesn't just influence our mood. It can transform our physiology. When you approach life from a foundation of positive expectancy, your entire system, mind, body, and behavior aligns with that direction. This doesn't mean positive thinking replaces effort or action. but it sets the emotional and mental stage upon which effective action can occur. A hopeful mind doesn't wait passively. It creates momentum. How thoughts influence outcomes. The practical impact of positive thinking can be seen most clearly in how it shapes behavior and results. Every thought we entertain leads to a feeling, and every feeling informs a choice. Over time, those choices compound into habits, and those habits shape the trajectory of our lives. Imagine two individuals with similar skills and circumstances. One repeatedly tells himself, "I'm capable of figuring things out even if I stumble." The other internalizes, "I always screw up. Nothing ever works for me." Even before they act, the course of their paths is being determined. The first is more likely to take risks, learn from failure, and seek out opportunity. The second is more likely to hold back, avoid effort, and give up early. Their self-talk becomes a script, and that script becomes reality. It's not that positive thinking guarantees success, but it increases the probability by keeping a person engaged, emotionally agile, and action-oriented. The same challenge faced by two different mindsets can produce vastly different outcomes, simply because one person believes solutions exist and the other has already decided they do not. Consider how you speak to yourself when things go wrong. Is your internal dialogue supportive or punishing? Do you allow yourself room to grow, or do you jump straight into self-criticism? The words we whisper to ourselves often carry more weight than those spoken aloud. Positive thinkers learn to become allies to themselves in these moments. They don't ignore failure, but they refuse to define themselves by it. They ask useful questions. What can I learn? What can I change? What do I still control? These are not empty affirmations. They are the language of forward motion. Your thoughts are the architects of your behavior. Over time, if you cultivate a mindset rooted in self-compassion, determination, and belief in your potential, you begin to act in alignment with those ideas. You build evidence that supports your self-worth. You become someone who doesn't just survive difficulty, but transforms through it. Ultimately, positive thinking is not a one-time decision. It's a discipline. It's a daily practice of choosing where to place your attention, what meaning to assign to events, and how to interpret the narrative of your life. It doesn't promise perfection, but it offers power. The power to pause before reacting, to find the lesson in loss, to trust that even small efforts can create momentum. It helps you rise after a fall, not because the fall didn't hurt, but because you believe in something greater than the pain. The possibility of growth, redemption, and a future not yet written. This is the quiet revolution at the heart of positive thinking. Not loud declarations, but steady resilience. Not a denial of reality, but a decision to shape it. Chapter 2. Overcoming negative thought patterns. Identifying the inner critic. Deep within each of us lies a voice that we rarely question, a narrator that colors our perception, filters our memories, and influences the way we interpret every interaction. This voice, often shaped in early childhood, becomes so familiar that we mistake it for objective truth. It tells us who we are, what we're capable of, and what we should fear. For many, this inner voice is not encouraging or wise, but critical, fearful, and limiting. It second-guesses our decisions, amplifies our failures, and minimizes our victories. This is the inner critic, the persistent presence of negative self-talk that undermines our confidence and steals our joy. It thrives on comparison, perfectionism, and fear of rejection. You'll hear it in thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," "I'll fail again just like last time," or "They're only pretending to like me." This voice can be subtle or loud, but its impact is always profound. It drains emotional energy and feeds into cycles of anxiety, procrastination, and self-sabotage. The first step in overcoming negative thought patterns is learning to identify this inner critic as separate from your core self. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears them, questions them, and decides which ones to follow. This awareness alone begins to break the automatic nature of self-defeating thought loops. You start to see that your thoughts are not always facts, and that you have the power to challenge and change them. Many people never pause to examine the language they use with themselves. They adopt harsh inner dialogue without realizing it's shaped by past experiences, perhaps critical parenting, bullying, traumatic events, or environments where their worth was conditional. Over time, this conditioning turns into a mental script that plays on repeat. It reinforces beliefs that keep you small, that mistakes define you, that you shouldn't speak up, that you'll be rejected if you show vulnerability. The inner critic isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers. It disguises itself as pragmatism or realism. I'm just being honest with myself, you might say, when in reality, you're indulging in fear-based assumptions that prevent growth. Once you become aware of this voice, you can begin to interrupt it. You can ask, whose voice is this, really? Where did I learn to speak to myself this way? As you explore the roots of your inner critic, you reclaim authorship of your internal narrative. That reclamation is essential for mental freedom. The truth is, the tone you use with yourself sets the tone for your entire life. You cannot bully yourself into lasting change, nor can you shame yourself into greatness. Transformation arises when you replace criticism with compassion, judgment with curiosity, and defeat with determination. Identifying the inner critic doesn't mean silencing every negative thought instantly. It means meeting that thought with awareness and choosing a response that aligns with who you want to become. Rewriting the narrative. Once we've identified the inner critic, the next task is to actively rewrite the stories it has been telling. Our brains are wired for narrative. We make sense of the world through the stories we tell ourselves. These stories shape how we interpret the past, experience the present, and envision the future. If your internal narrative is one of inadequacy, fear, or futility, your choices will reflect those themes. But just as stories can be constructed, they can also be reconstructed. Rewriting your narrative is not about lying to yourself or painting an unrealistically rosy picture. It's about telling the whole truth, not just the most painful parts. It's about integrating perspective, seeing your strength as well as your struggle, and acknowledging how you've grown, not just where you've fallen. This process begins with awareness, noticing what stories you're telling, and asking whether they are helpful, accurate, and empowering. Instead of defaulting to, I always mess things up, you pause and reflect. Has that really always been true? Are there moments where I've succeeded, learned, or adapted? Can I expand the narrative to include my resilience, my creativity, my effort? Rewriting the narrative also involves giving yourself permission to update your identity. Many of us cling to outdated versions of ourselves because we confuse consistency with authenticity. We say, that's just the way I am, or I've always been like this, not realizing that these statements are choices, not facts. Just because you've struggled in the past doesn't mean you're destined to struggle forever. Just because you've lacked confidence doesn't mean you are incapable. Every day offers an opportunity to revise the script, to speak about yourself with more truth, kindness, and possibility. This requires effort and intention, especially if you've lived with negative thought patterns for years. But the change is real and incremental. It begins with small shifts, noticing when you're being unreasonably hard on yourself, replacing exaggerations with balanced assessments, and practicing self-talk that is both honest and hopeful. For example, I'm terrible at public speaking can become, I feel nervous speaking in public, but I'm learning and improving with practice. These shifts may seem minor, but over time they create a radically different internal landscape. They train your brain to see possibility where it once saw limitation. A powerful exercise in rewriting your narrative is journaling your experiences through a strengths-based lens. Instead of writing only about what went wrong, focus on what you did well, what you handled with courage, and what you learned. Ask yourself questions like, what strengths did I use today? Or, how did I move forward, even if just a little? These reflections reinforce a sense of agency and self-efficacy. Another technique is to visualize yourself as the main character in a hero's journey. Heroes face obstacles, doubt themselves, fall, get back up, but they always grow through the journey. Begin to see your life as a process of becoming, not a series of verdicts. Let your challenges become chapters, not conclusions. The way you speak to yourself during difficulty defines the trajectory of your transformation. If you can rewrite your internal dialogue, you can change the direction of your life. You don't have to keep rehearsing stories that keep you stuck. You can create new ones, stories that empower, expand, and evolve. Creating a resilient mindset. Overcoming negative thought patterns ultimately leads to the cultivation of a resilient mindset, one that doesn't avoid difficulty, but responds to it with flexibility, faith, and forward motion. Resilience is not about being unaffected by stress. It's about recovering and growing stronger through it. A resilient mind doesn't collapse under pressure. It adapts, learns, and rebuilds. This mindset is built by practicing specific mental habits, reframing challenges, regulating emotions, maintaining perspective, and staying connected to purpose. One of the most powerful tools in resilience is the ability to reframe, to look at a difficult situation and ask, what else could this mean? What opportunity might be hidden here? This shift doesn't erase pain, but it gives you access to choice. You are not just what happens to you. You are what you make of it. A resilient mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones. It doesn't deny hardship, but it refuses to let hardship define the future. To create resilience, we must also become skilled at emotional regulation. This means noticing our emotional states without being consumed by them. When fear arises, we pause rather than panic. When disappointment hits, we allow space to feel it without spiraling. This emotional intelligence gives us the power to respond rather than react. It's not about suppressing feelings. It's about honoring them without letting them hijack our behavior. Meditation, deep breathing, journaling, and therapy are tools that help us process emotions constructively. A resilient mind practices these habits not just in crisis, but consistently, so that they become second nature when stress hits. Another pillar of resilience is maintaining perspective. Often, we catastrophize situations, assuming the worst-case scenario and believing we won't cope. But perspective allows us to zoom out, to see the full picture, to remember that we've survived hard things before, and that most problems are temporary and solvable. Perspective is built by reflecting on past wins, keeping a gratitude practice, and surrounding ourselves with grounded, encouraging people. Finally, a resilient mindset is sustained by purpose. When we have a compelling why, we can endure almost any how. Purpose gives pain context. It transforms suffering into service, loss into learning, and struggle into strength. Whether your purpose is family, creativity, service, growth, or healing, connecting with something greater than your immediate discomfort helps anchor you. It reminds you that this moment is a page, not the whole story. Resilience grows when we connect our daily efforts to our deepest values. Every small action you take, choosing hope, practicing patience, speaking kindly to yourself, is a brick in the foundation of a resilient life. You are always building something, even when it feels like you're barely holding on. Resilience is not innate, it's practiced. And every time you challenge a negative thought, rewrite a harmful story, or choose growth over fear, You are becoming more unshakable. You are training your mind to see clearly, respond wisely, and keep moving forward. Chapter 3. Cultivating Self-Belief and Confidence. Understanding the foundations of self-belief. Self-belief is not an abstract idea or motivational buzzword. It's the internal compass that guides your choices, shapes your behavior, and determines how resilient you are in the face of setbacks. At its core, self-belief is the unwavering trust in your own abilities, values, and worth. It is a quiet yet powerful conviction that you are capable of growth, learning, and achievement, regardless of external validation or past failures. Unlike arrogance, which inflates one's sense of self through ego and comparison, self-belief is grounded in humility and self-awareness. It doesn't demand perfection or constant success. Rather, it accepts imperfection as part of the journey while maintaining the inner assurance that, given effort and persistence, progress is not only possible, it is inevitable. Developing this foundational sense of belief begins in the everyday moments. How you speak to yourself when you make a mistake, how you respond to challenges, how you interpret rejection, and how you define your own narrative when no one else is watching. The roots of self-belief are planted early, often shaped by caregivers, educators, and cultural messaging. If you were encouraged, validated, and supported as a child, you may have a head start in developing inner confidence. But even if you lacked that nurturing environment, self-belief can still be cultivated with deliberate effort. It begins by recognizing the limiting beliefs you've absorbed and consciously challenging them. Many of us carry around inherited scripts, stories like, "I'm not smart enough," "I always mess things up," or "people like me don't succeed," and accept them as reality. But beliefs are not fixed truths. They are filters, and filters can be changed. Replacing limiting beliefs starts with evidence. Begin keeping a journal of your wins, no matter how small. Every time you follow through on a commitment, every time you speak up, take a risk, or learn something new, write it down. Over time, this record becomes proof. It becomes the scaffolding on which your self-belief is built. Not empty affirmations, but lived experience. You begin to see that confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you earn through action, self-reflection, and courageous repetition. Self-belief is also reinforced by how you handle failure. Those who truly believe in themselves don't avoid failure. They redefine it. They understand that every setback is not a sign of inadequacy, but an invitation to grow. When you believe in yourself, failure becomes feedback, not a verdict. You stop interpreting a single event as a measure of your identity. Instead of saying, "I failed," you say, "This didn't work. What can I learn from it?" This mental shift builds psychological flexibility, allowing you to bounce back faster and approach new challenges with less fear. Ultimately, self-belief is a skill set. It is teachable, trainable, and transferable. And like all skills, it requires patience, practice, and a willingness to show up, especially on the days when confidence feels most elusive. Practicing confidence through action. While self-belief is internal, confidence is its outward expression. Confidence is not a feeling you wait to have before you act. It's a muscle you develop by taking action in spite of discomfort. Many people wait for certainty or the perfect conditions before stepping forward. But true confidence is born from doing the thing before you feel ready. It is forged in discomfort, in the moments where your fear tells you to shrink, but you choose to expand instead. The key to cultivating confidence is not to eliminate fear, but to move forward alongside it. Action is the antidote to insecurity. Every time you take a step, speak up, make a decision, or try something new, you send a signal to your brain, "I can handle this." That signal accumulates, builds momentum, and gradually shifts your self-perception from doubt to determination. Confidence through action requires intentional exposure to discomfort. This doesn't mean throwing yourself into overwhelming situations unprepared, but it does mean leaning into stretch zones. Think of these zones as the space between comfort and panic. In your comfort zone, there is safety, but no growth. In your panic zone, there's too much fear to process. But in the stretch zone, you are slightly uncomfortable, slightly challenged, but still capable. This is where transformation happens. Set yourself daily or weekly confidence challenges, small, manageable actions that require you to step slightly beyond your habitual patterns. It might be making eye contact and smiling at strangers, initiating a conversation, expressing a boundary, or trying something you've avoided out of fear. These micro-courage moments are deceptively powerful. They don't just build skill, they build self-trust. With each small win, your brain begins to associate discomfort with growth rather than danger. Confidence then becomes not an identity but a process, one rooted in evidence and personal engagement. Another important aspect of confidence is embodiment. The way you hold your body affects the way you feel. Studies in neuroscience and psychology have consistently shown that posture, breathing, and movement all play a role in shaping emotional states. Standing tall, breathing deeply, and moving with intention send signals of safety and capability to the brain. This is not about faking confidence. It's about giving your body and brain the physical context they need to access it. In moments of doubt, ground yourself physically. Plant your feet, roll your shoulders back, speak slowly and clearly. These simple acts have a cumulative impact. Over time, they help retrain your nervous system to associate challenge with strength rather than threat. Confidence is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting that you can figure things out. And every time you act in alignment with that trust, you strengthen it. Sustaining growth through self-compassion. Perhaps the most overlooked pillar of self-belief and confidence is self-compassion. Many people assume that being hard on themselves will make them stronger, more disciplined, or more motivated. But research and lived experience show the opposite. Self-criticism may create temporary compliance, but it erodes long-term resilience. In contrast, self-compassion fosters sustainable growth, emotional balance, and psychological strength. It allows you to recover from setbacks faster, learn more deeply, and pursue goals with less fear of failure. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is the courageous choice to meet your humanity with kindness. It means speaking to yourself with the same understanding, encouragement, and forgiveness that you would offer to someone you love. It means recognizing that pain, struggle, and imperfection are part of the human experience, not signs that you're broken or unworthy. Sustaining growth requires a kind of internal loyalty. This means showing up for yourself, not just when things are going well, but especially when they're not. It means being on your own team. Many people abandon themselves in hard moments. They double down on blame, isolate themselves, or spiral into hopelessness. But self-compassion interrupts that cycle. It says, "I'm hurting, but I'm not alone. This is hard, but I'm still worthy. I made a mistake, but I can learn from it." This inner dialogue creates psychological safety, and from that safety, courage grows. You're more likely to take risks, try again, and persist when you know that failure won't lead to internal punishment. Self-compassion is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It shows up in the questions you ask yourself, the stories you tell about your experiences, and the standards you hold yourself to. Instead of perfection, aim for progress. Instead of harshness, choose honesty with warmth. Instead of comparison, return to your own path. Another essential dimension of self-compassion is acknowledging your needs and limits. Growth doesn't happen through constant hustle and burnout. It requires rest, reflection, and restoration. Confidence and self-belief thrive when you are well-nourished, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Make time for the things that ground you. Nature, connection, creativity, movement, stillness. Protect your energy the way you would protect a young sapling. Gentle, persistent, deliberate. There is strength in softness. There is power in presence. And there is wisdom in knowing that your worth is not tied to constant achievement. You are enough now even as you strive. This paradox, the ability to love yourself while wanting to grow, is the secret to sustainable transformation. When you bring compassion into your pursuit of confidence, you create a foundation that can withstand life's inevitable storms. You learn that belief in yourself is not a finish line, but a way of being, an inner home you return to again and again. Chapter 4. Embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. The power of a growth mindset. One of the most transformative shifts in the way we approach life is the adoption of a growth mindset, the belief that our abilities and intelligence are not fixed, but can be developed through effort, perseverance, and learning. This shift in mindset is fundamental to mastering positive thinking and unlocking our potential. People with a growth mindset view challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to learn and grow. They understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but rather a stepping stone on the path to success. When faced with difficulty, their response is not one of despair or self-doubt, but one of curiosity and determination. They ask, "What can I learn from this?" rather than, "Why is this happening to me?" This simple shift in perspective changes everything. It transforms every setback into a lesson, every difficulty into an opportunity for growth. At the heart of the growth mindset is the belief that intelligence, talent, and skill are not innate qualities that we either have or do not have, but rather capacities that can be nurtured and developed. This belief encourages a sense of agency, the power to shape our future through the choices we make today. When we believe that our abilities can improve with practice and effort, we are more likely to take on new challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, and embrace the discomfort that often accompanies growth. In contrast, a fixed mindset, a belief that our abilities are set in stone, leads to a fear of failure, a reluctance to take risks, and a tendency to avoid challenges altogether. People with a fixed mindset may shy away from difficult tasks or opportunities because they fear that struggling with something means they are not good enough. In this mindset, success is seen as a validation of inherent worth, and failure is seen as a condemnation of one's abilities. The growth mindset flips this narrative, turning challenges into opportunities and fostering a belief that we are all capable of continuous improvement. Embracing a growth mindset also means accepting the idea that mastery takes time and effort. The road to success is rarely linear. There are twists, turns, setbacks, and failures along the way. But those who possess a growth mindset see these obstacles as part of the process, not as reasons to give up. They understand that skill and knowledge are built over time through deliberate practice and learning from mistakes. This mindset not only applies to intellectual pursuits, but also to emotional, social, and personal growth. When we adopt a growth mindset, we stop measuring our worth by the outcome of a single event or achievement, and instead focus on the process, the ongoing journey of improvement. This shift fosters resilience, perseverance, and a deep-seated belief that we can overcome anything we set our minds to. The growth mindset empowers us to push through challenges, take risks, and embrace the unknown, knowing that we are capable of learning, adapting, and evolving along the way. Reframing. Failure as a learning experience. One of the most powerful ways to embrace challenges is by reframing our understanding of failure. In the traditional sense, failure is often seen as something to be feared, avoided, or ashamed of. We live in a world that places a high value on success and achievement, and failure is often viewed as the opposite of success. But in reality, failure is not the enemy. It is a necessary part of the learning process. Failure provides us with invaluable feedback, that can help us refine our approach, improve our skills, and ultimately achieve greater success in the future. When we view failure as a learning experience rather than a reflection of our abilities, we free ourselves from the fear of making mistakes and open ourselves up to growth. Every failure contains within it the seeds of improvement, and it is through these lessons that we become more resilient, resourceful, and capable of achieving our goals. Reframing failure begins with changing our internal narrative. Instead of thinking, "I failed because I'm not good enough," we can reframe it to say, "I failed because I haven't yet figured out the right way to approach this." This subtle shift in language changes the way we perceive ourselves and our abilities. It transforms failure from a personal judgment into an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. We can ask ourselves, what went wrong? And what can I do differently next time? By focusing on the lessons that failure offers, we empower ourselves to learn from our mistakes and adjust our approach. This mindset also encourages a sense of persistence, as we understand that failure is not a final destination, but a temporary setback. Every failure is an invitation to try again, to refine our strategy, and to approach the challenge with greater insight and determination. Another key aspect of reframing failure is learning to separate our identity from our performance. Many people tie their self-worth to their achievements or failures, which can lead to a fear of failure and a lack of confidence. But our worth is not defined by what we accomplish. It is inherent in who we are as individuals. When we detach our self-esteem from our successes and failures, we free ourselves to take risks, make mistakes, and grow without the fear of judgment. This detachment allows us to embrace challenges with a sense of curiosity and openness, rather than anxiety and self-doubt. By reframing failure in this way, we change the entire way we approach challenges. Instead of avoiding difficult tasks or fearing the possibility of failure, we actively seek out challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. In this sense, failure becomes not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as an essential part of the journey towards success. The role of resilience in overcoming adversity. Resilience is the capacity to bounce back from adversity, to recover from setbacks, and to continue moving forward in the face of challenges. It is a key trait of those who are able to embrace challenges and turn them into opportunities for growth. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulties, but about developing the mental and emotional strength to navigate them with grace and determination. It is the ability to maintain a positive outlook and stay focused on your goals, even when things are not going according to plan. Resilient individuals understand that life is full of challenges and that setbacks are a natural part of the human experience. Rather than being defeated by adversity, they use it as fuel to propel themselves forward. Building resilience begins with developing a sense of self-efficacy, the belief that we have the ability to influence the outcomes of our lives. When we believe in our own agency, we are more likely to take proactive steps to overcome challenges rather than feeling helpless or overwhelmed by them. Resilient individuals also tend to have a strong sense of purpose. They are driven by a deep sense of why they are pursuing their goals, which gives them the motivation to keep going even when things get tough. This sense of purpose serves as a guiding light in times of difficulty, helping them stay focused on the bigger picture rather than getting bogged down by short-term setbacks. Additionally, resilient individuals tend to be more adaptable. They are able to pivot and adjust their approach when things aren't working, rather than stubbornly sticking to a course of action that isn't yielding results. Resilience is about flexibility, being able to bend without breaking. Resilience is also closely linked to emotional regulation. Resilient individuals are able to manage their emotions in a healthy way, even in the face of stress or adversity. They do not allow fear, anger, or frustration to derail their progress. Instead, they acknowledge their emotions and use them as signals to guide their actions. For example, when feeling overwhelmed, a resilient person might take a step back, engage in deep breathing, or practice mindfulness to regain their emotional equilibrium. This emotional regulation allows them to approach challenges with a clear mind and a sense of calm, which ultimately leads to better decision-making and problem-solving. In this way, resilience is not just about toughing it out. It is about developing the tools and strategies to handle life's difficulties with composure, confidence, and a commitment to growth. Chapter 5. Cultivating Self-Discipline for Lasting Success. The foundations of self-discipline. Self-discipline is often regarded as the cornerstone of success. It is the ability to consistently pursue what we know to be in our best interest, even when it's difficult, inconvenient, or when our immediate impulses pull us in a different direction. At its core, self-discipline is about making choices that align with our long-term goals, values, and aspirations, rather than yielding to temporary desires or distractions. Building and maintaining self-discipline requires practice, persistence, and a willingness to delay gratification in favor of greater rewards later on. It involves developing the mental strength to stay focused on our objectives, even when the path becomes challenging, or when the allure of instant pleasure threatens to derail us. Self-discipline is not an innate trait reserved for the lucky few. It is a skill that anyone can cultivate with intentional effort and a mindset geared toward growth and personal development. One of the first steps in cultivating self-discipline is to define clear, specific goals. When we know exactly what we want to achieve, we are better able to align our actions and decisions with those objectives. It's easy to become distracted or sidetracked when our goals are vague or unclear. But when we have a well-defined target in mind, every decision becomes easier to navigate. Our actions are driven by purpose, and we are more likely to resist the temptation to stray off course. In addition to setting clear goals, it's also essential to break those goals down into smaller, manageable steps. By doing so, we can avoid feeling overwhelmed by the enormity of the task and instead focus on taking one action at a time. Each small step becomes a victory in itself, reinforcing our commitment and strengthening our resolve. The practice of breaking down large goals into smaller tasks also helps us develop a routine, which is critical for building momentum and sustaining self-discipline over time. Another fundamental aspect of self-discipline is the ability to control our impulses. Human nature is such that we are often driven by short-term desires or emotional reactions, which can undermine our long-term goals. Whether it's the impulse to procrastinate, to indulge in unhealthy habits, or to give in to distractions, impulse control is a skill that requires constant attention and effort. The ability to delay gratification, to resist the immediate temptation in favor of a future reward, is key to developing self-discipline. This skill can be honed through mindfulness practices, which allow us to become more aware of our impulses and the emotions that drive them. When we become more conscious of our internal responses, we can begin to make more intentional choices, rather than reacting impulsively. With time and practice, the ability to control our impulses becomes second nature, and our actions increasingly reflect our higher goals and values. Building consistency through habit formation. Consistency is the bedrock of self-discipline. It's not enough to be disciplined once in a while. Lasting success comes from the ability to maintain discipline over the long term. One of the most effective ways to build consistency is through the formation of positive habits. Habits are the behaviors that we perform automatically, often without much thought or effort. When we establish habits that support our goals, we remove the need for constant willpower and decision-making. Instead, our actions become ingrained and we operate on autopilot, making progress toward our objectives with minimal effort. The process of habit formation is central to cultivating self-discipline, as it allows us to make the right choices without having to exert conscious effort every time. The first step in forming a new habit is to make it simple and achievable. Trying to overhaul your entire lifestyle overnight is a recipe for failure. Instead, focus on small, manageable changes that can be integrated into your daily routine. For example, if your goal is to become more physically active, start by committing to just 5 minutes of exercise each day. As you become comfortable with this small commitment, you can gradually increase the time and intensity. The key is to build momentum and establish the behavior as part of your routine before adding complexity. Over time, the new habit becomes automatic, and the effort required to maintain it decreases significantly. This process, known as habit stacking, involves linking a new habit to an existing one, creating a seamless transition between the two. For instance, if you already have a morning coffee ritual, you could add 5 minutes of stretching to that routine. The more you can weave new habits into your existing patterns, the easier it will be to maintain consistency and reinforce self-discipline. Consistency also requires patience and persistence. Habits take time to form, and the road to mastery is rarely linear. There will be days when you slip up, when you feel tempted to abandon your goals, or when you simply don't feel motivated. On those days, it's important not to be too hard on yourself. Mistakes and setbacks are a natural part of the journey, and they do not define your progress. Instead of focusing on perfection, focus on getting back on track. Remind yourself that consistency is about progress, not perfection. Even if you miss a day or fall short of your goal, it's important to maintain the mindset that tomorrow is a new opportunity to start again. By staying committed and persistent, you gradually build the resilience needed to maintain your self-discipline in the face of challenges. Over time, the positive habits you've developed will become second nature, and your discipline will grow stronger, allowing you to achieve your long-term goals. The role of motivation and accountability in self-discipline. While self-discipline is often thought of as an individual pursuit, motivation and accountability play critical roles in maintaining it. Motivation is the fuel that drives us to take action, and while it can sometimes feel elusive, there are ways to harness and sustain it. One of the most effective strategies for maintaining motivation is to connect your actions to a deeper sense of purpose. When you are clear on why your goals matter and how they align with your core values, you are more likely to stay committed to the process, even when the going gets tough. This sense of purpose provides the emotional drive that propels you forward, even when external circumstances may not be favorable. Motivation is also influenced by the small wins and progress you make along the way. Celebrating each step forward, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that your efforts are worthwhile and encourages you to keep going. In addition to motivation, accountability is another powerful tool for strengthening self-discipline. When we hold ourselves accountable, we are more likely to follow through on our commitments. However, accountability doesn't have to be a solitary effort. Finding a partner, mentor, or support group can help provide the encouragement and oversight necessary to stay on track. Sharing your goals with others not only creates a sense of responsibility, but also provides an opportunity for feedback and guidance. Having someone else to check in with can help you stay motivated, especially during times when your resolve wavers. This external accountability can be a game changer, as it provides an additional layer of commitment that strengthens your discipline. At the same time, it's important to recognize that motivation and accountability are not always enough on their own. True self-discipline requires internal commitment, the willingness to do what needs to be done even when no one is watching. This means developing a strong sense of personal integrity and responsibility. When you make a promise to yourself, keeping that promise becomes an act of honoring your word. By cultivating this internal sense of commitment, you create a foundation of self-trust that reinforces your discipline over time. While external sources of motivation and accountability are valuable, they ultimately serve to support your internal resolve. When both internal and external factors align, self-discipline becomes a powerful force that propels you toward lasting success. Chapter 6. the importance of mindfulness in positive thinking. What is mindfulness and why does it matter? Mindfulness is more than just a buzzword or a trendy concept. It's a powerful tool that can fundamentally transform the way we think, feel, and live. At its core, mindfulness is the practice of paying full, non-judgmental attention to the present moment. It's about becoming more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations as they arise, without getting caught up in them or letting them control us. In today's fast-paced world, we often find ourselves rushing from one task to the next, constantly distracted by external stimuli and operating on autopilot. We rarely take the time to pause, reflect, and truly engage with our experiences. Mindfulness disrupts this automatic way of living by encouraging us to slow down and be fully present. It invites us to observe our thoughts without judgment, to notice our emotions without reacting impulsively, and to experience the world around us without being lost in a mental haze of worry, anxiety, or distraction. This practice of intentional awareness can have profound effects on our overall well-being, as it enables us to approach life with clarity, focus, and emotional balance. The importance of mindfulness in positive thinking cannot be overstated. When we are mindful, we are better able to recognize and challenge negative or unhelpful thought patterns. Often, our minds are filled with automatic, habitual thoughts that shape our perceptions of the world. These thoughts may be rooted in fear, doubt, or past experiences, and they can prevent us from seeing situations clearly or objectively. Mindfulness helps us detach from these automatic thoughts, creating a space where we can observe them without being overwhelmed by them. This awareness gives us the power to choose how we respond to situations, rather than reacting impulsively based on ingrained thought patterns. By practicing mindfulness, we gain greater control over our mental and emotional responses, which in turn allows us to cultivate a more positive and empowering outlook on life. Mindfulness also encourages a greater sense of self-compassion. Many of us are our own harshest critics, constantly judging ourselves for our perceived shortcomings or mistakes. Mindfulness teaches us to approach ourselves with kindness and understanding, recognizing that we are human, and like everyone else, we are bound to face challenges, make mistakes, and experience moments of struggle. Instead of berating ourselves when we fall short, mindfulness invites us to acknowledge our imperfections with acceptance and compassion. This shift in how we treat ourselves can significantly enhance our emotional resilience, as it allows us to bounce back from setbacks with greater ease and self-assurance. When we embrace ourselves with compassion, we create a solid foundation of self-love and acceptance, which fuels our ability to maintain a positive mindset, even in the face of adversity. The science behind mindfulness and its impact on the brain. The practice of mindfulness isn't just a feel-good concept. It's supported by a growing body of scientific research that demonstrates its powerful effects on the brain and body. Neuroscientific studies have shown that mindfulness can have a profound impact on the brain's structure and function, leading to enhanced emotional regulation, greater cognitive flexibility, and improved mental health. One of the most significant findings is that regular mindfulness practice can increase the thickness of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain associated with higher-order thinking, decision-making, and self-control. This increase in cortical thickness is linked to improvements in attention, focus, and executive functioning, all of which are essential for maintaining a positive and productive mindset. In addition to enhancing cognitive function, mindfulness also has a profound impact on emotional regulation. Studies have shown that mindfulness practice can reduce activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions such as fear, anxiety, and stress. This reduction in amygdala activity allows us to respond to stressors with greater calm and clarity, rather than reacting impulsively or emotionally. When we are mindful, we are better able to observe our emotions without being consumed by them, which gives us the space to choose a more measured, thoughtful response. This ability to regulate our emotions is a crucial aspect of maintaining positive thinking, as it enables us to remain focused on solutions, rather than becoming overwhelmed by negativity or frustration. Mindfulness also plays a key role in reducing rumination, the tendency to dwell on negative thoughts or past experiences. Rumination is often a major barrier to positive thinking, as it keeps us stuck in a cycle of self-criticism, worry, and regret. By training our minds to focus on the present moment, mindfulness helps us break free from this cycle. Research has shown that mindfulness can reduce the frequency and intensity of rumination, leading to a decrease in symptoms of depression and anxiety. When we are less caught up in negative thinking, we create more space for positive thoughts, feelings, and actions to emerge. This shift in mental focus allows us to break free from the grip of negative thought patterns and to develop a more optimistic, forward-looking perspective. Practical techniques for integrating mindfulness into daily life. While mindfulness may sound like an abstract or difficult concept, it is, in fact, something that can be practiced by anyone, anywhere, at any time. The beauty of mindfulness lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require special equipment, a quiet space, or long periods of time. It can be integrated into even the busiest of schedules, making it an accessible tool for anyone seeking to cultivate a more positive mindset. One of the easiest ways to begin practicing mindfulness is through mindful breathing. Simply taking a few moments each day to focus on your breath, paying attention to the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body, can help anchor you in the present moment and calm your mind. This simple practice can be done anywhere, while waiting in line, sitting at your desk, or even walking. By bringing your attention to your breath, you create a pause between stimulus and response, which allows you to approach situations with greater clarity and composure. Another powerful mindfulness practice is body scanning. This technique involves systematically bringing your attention to different parts of your body, noticing any sensations or areas of tension without judgment. A body scan can be a particularly effective tool for managing stress and anxiety, as it helps you reconnect with your physical sensations and cultivate a sense of groundedness. When we become more aware of our bodies, we are better able to notice the subtle signs of stress or discomfort, which allows us to take proactive steps to address them before they escalate. Body scanning can be done in just a few minutes, making it an ideal practice for those with busy lifestyles. Whether you're sitting at your desk, lying in bed, or taking a break during the day, you can use this technique to center yourself and maintain a sense of calm. Finally, mindfulness can be integrated into everyday activities by simply bringing your full attention to whatever you are doing. Whether you are eating, walking, washing dishes, or engaging in conversation, you can practice mindfulness by focusing entirely on the present moment. This means fully immersing yourself in the task at hand, without distraction or multitasking. When you eat, for example, take the time to savor each bite, paying attention to the taste, texture, and aroma of the food. When you walk, notice the sensation of your feet on the ground, the rhythm of your breath, and the sights and sounds around you. By cultivating mindfulness in daily activities, you not only deepen your engagement with the present moment, but also develop a greater appreciation for the richness of life as it unfolds. This practice of present moment awareness helps to counterbalance the tendency to dwell on the past or worry about the future, promoting a more positive and peaceful state of mind. Chapter 7. Overcoming Fear and Doubt to Unlock Your Potential. Understanding the roots of fear and doubt. Fear and doubt are two of the most powerful forces that can hold us back from realizing our true potential. They often operate behind the scenes, influencing our decisions, shaping our behaviors, and preventing us from taking the risks necessary to achieve our dreams. Fear is a natural part of being human. It's deeply ingrained in our survival instincts. Historically, fear helped our ancestors stay alive by alerting them to potential dangers, like wild animals or environmental hazards. However, in the modern world, fear no longer serves the same life or death function. Instead, it often manifests as a psychological barrier that keeps us from stepping out of our comfort zones and pursuing new opportunities. Fear can take many forms: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, or fear of not being good enough. While these fears may feel real, they are often based on imagined scenarios or past experiences that no longer serve us. Doubt, on the other hand, is the quiet whisper that undermines our confidence and prevents us from believing in ourselves. It's the inner voice that questions our abilities, tells us that we're not capable, and convinces us that our dreams are too far-fetched or unrealistic. Doubt can be incredibly insidious because it often feels rational and logical. We start doubting ourselves after a failure or a setback, telling ourselves that we're not worthy of success or that we'll never be able to achieve our goals. This self-doubt can build up over time, eroding our self-esteem and making us hesitant to take action. It's important to understand that both fear and doubt are natural human experiences, but they don't have to control our lives. In fact, recognizing their presence is the first step toward overcoming them. The key to overcoming fear and doubt lies in understanding their origins. Fear is often rooted in past experiences, particularly those where we faced failure or disappointment. These experiences can leave emotional scars that trigger fear in similar situations in the future. Doubt, on the other hand, often arises from our own perceptions and beliefs about ourselves. When we internalize negative messages from others or society, we begin to question our worth and abilities. Both fear and doubt thrive in the absence of self-awareness and self-compassion. When we don't understand the root causes of our fears, they can easily gain power over us. But by bringing these fears and doubts into the light and recognizing them for what they are, we can start to dismantle their hold on us. Challenging and reframing negative thoughts. One of the most effective ways to overcome fear and doubt is by challenging and reframing the negative thoughts that fuel them. Negative thoughts are often automatic, ingrained patterns of thinking that arise in response to fear or doubt. These thoughts might include phrases like, "I'm not good enough," "I'll never succeed," or "This is too hard for me." While these thoughts may feel true in the moment, they are rarely grounded in reality. Instead, they are shaped by our emotions and past experiences, which can distort our perceptions. The first step in challenging negative thoughts is to become aware of them. Mindfulness practices can be incredibly helpful here, as they encourage us to observe our thoughts without judgment or attachment. When we notice a negative thought arise, instead of accepting it as fact, we can pause and question it. Ask yourself, is this thought based on evidence, or is it simply a product of fear or doubt? Often, you'll find that your negative thoughts are exaggerated or unfounded. For example, you might think, "I'm terrible at public speaking," but if you objectively review past experiences, you might realize that you've given speeches or presentations before, and while you may have been nervous, the outcome wasn't as bad as you imagined. Reframing involves consciously replacing negative, self-defeating thoughts with more balanced, positive ones. Instead of thinking, "I'll never succeed," try replacing that with, "I may face challenges, but I am capable of overcoming them." Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," reframe it to, "I have unique strengths and talents that can help me achieve my goals." Over time, this practice of reframing will become second nature, and you'll find yourself thinking more positively and with greater self-belief. Another powerful technique for challenging negative thoughts is to seek alternative perspectives. When we're caught in a negative thought loop, it can be helpful to talk to someone we trust, whether it's a friend, mentor, or coach. They can provide an objective viewpoint and help us see our situation more clearly. Often, others can see our strengths and potential more clearly than we can ourselves, especially when we are caught in a spiral of fear and doubt. By seeking feedback and gaining new perspectives, we begin to shift our mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility This process of cognitive restructuring is crucial for building resilience and developing a more positive, empowering outlook on life. Embracing action in the face of fear and doubt. Overcoming fear and doubt is not just about changing our thoughts. It's also about taking action, even when we don't feel fully ready or confident. One of the most effective ways to confront fear is to move through it step by step. Fear often thrives when we allow ourselves to avoid it, when we allow our anxieties to fester and grow in the absence of action. The more we put off taking action, the more the fear and doubt will gain power over us. But when we start taking small, manageable steps toward our goals, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of overcoming our fears. Action is the antidote to fear. It creates momentum, builds confidence, and shrinks the power of doubt. One of the most common fears people face is the fear of failure, but the truth is that failure is often an essential part of success. Every successful person has encountered failure along the way. The difference is that they didn't let failure stop them. Instead, they viewed it as an opportunity for growth and learning. When we take action, even in the face of fear, we shift our mindset from one of avoidance to one of progress. Each small step we take reduces the intensity of our fear and allows us to build the confidence and experience we need to continue moving forward. For example, if you fear public speaking, start by speaking in front of a small group of friends or colleagues. As you gain more experience, the fear will lessen, and you'll be able to speak with more confidence and ease. Another way to embrace action in the face of fear is to adopt a growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, practice, and learning. This mindset helps to reduce the fear of failure because it frames challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than as reflections of personal inadequacy. When we embrace the idea that failure is not final, but rather a stepping stone on the path to success, we become more willing to take risks and pursue our goals with determination. Action, combined with a growth mindset, creates a powerful combination for overcoming fear and doubt, enabling us to unlock our full potential. Chapter 8. The Power of Gratitude in Transforming Your Life. Understanding the true essence of gratitude. Gratitude is often seen as a simple thank you, something we express when someone does something nice for us. While this is certainly a form of gratitude, the true power of gratitude extends far beyond the occasional polite gesture. At its core, gratitude is a mindset, a conscious decision to acknowledge the positive aspects of our lives, no matter how big or small they may be. It's the practice of recognizing and appreciating the good, even in the midst of life's challenges. When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our focus away from what's missing or going wrong in our lives and instead direct our attention to what is going well. This shift in focus is incredibly powerful as it fosters a sense of contentment, satisfaction, and abundance. The more we focus on what we are grateful for, the more we open ourselves to experiencing positivity, joy, and fulfillment. The true essence of gratitude lies not in simply recognizing the positive aspects of life, but in actively cultivating an attitude of thankfulness. This involves training our minds to look for the good, even when it seems difficult to find. It's easy to feel grateful when everything is going well. The sun is shining, we're surrounded by loved ones, and everything feels in harmony. However, the true power of gratitude is revealed when we practice it during difficult times. When we are facing challenges, setbacks, or disappointments. This is when gratitude can truly transform our lives. By acknowledging the lessons and growth that come from adversity, we can find meaning and purpose in our struggles. Gratitude in tough times is not about denying the pain or pretending that everything is okay. Rather, it's about finding moments of beauty, growth, or opportunity, even in the midst of hardship. When we make gratitude a consistent part of our daily lives, it becomes a lens through which we view the world. This shift in perspective has a profound impact on our mental and emotional well-being. Gratitude rewires the brain to focus on positive experiences, helping to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. Studies have shown that people who regularly practice gratitude report higher levels of happiness, increased resilience, and improved relationships. By choosing to focus on what is good, we attract more positivity into our lives, creating a cycle of abundance and joy. Gratitude is not just a passive feeling. It is an active practice that has the power to transform how we experience life. The science behind gratitude and its impact on mental health. While gratitude may seem like a simple emotional experience, it has a profound impact on our mental and physical health. Scientific research has increasingly shown that practicing gratitude can lead to significant improvements in both mental and physical well-being. One of the most significant benefits of gratitude is its ability to reduce stress and anxiety. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we activate the brain's reward centers, releasing feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. These neurotransmitters play a key role in regulating our mood and emotions. As a result, gratitude helps to lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol, reducing feelings of tension, worry, and fear. Gratitude has also been shown to improve sleep quality. Studies have found that people who regularly practice gratitude experience fewer sleep disturbances and fall asleep more easily. This is because gratitude promotes a sense of calm and relaxation, which helps to quiet the mind and prepare the body for rest. In one study, participants who wrote down 3 things they were grateful for each day experienced better sleep quality and reported feeling more refreshed and energized upon waking. This is particularly important given that sleep plays a critical role in maintaining our overall health and well-being. By incorporating gratitude into our daily routine, we can improve our sleep and enhance our ability to cope with stress and adversity. In addition to improving mood and sleep, gratitude has a positive impact on our relationships. People who express gratitude regularly are more likely to have stronger, more supportive relationships with others. Gratitude helps to foster a sense of connection and appreciation, making it easier to cultivate empathy and understanding. When we take the time to express gratitude to others, we create a ripple effect that spreads positivity and strengthens bonds. Whether it's thanking a friend for their support or acknowledging a colleague's hard work, acts of gratitude help to reinforce the connections that make our lives richer and more meaningful. Over time, these positive interactions can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment and happiness in our relationships. Practical ways to practice gratitude every day. While the benefits of gratitude are clear, many people struggle to make it a consistent practice. In the busyness of life, it's easy to forget to take a moment to reflect on what we're grateful for. However, by making gratitude a daily habit, we can experience its transformative effects. One of the simplest ways to practice gratitude is by keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, set aside a few minutes to write down 3 things you are grateful for. These can be big or small, anything from the support of a friend to the warmth of the sun on your face. The key is to focus on the positive aspects of your life and take time to acknowledge them. Writing down your gratitude can help to solidify these positive feelings and reinforce the habit of looking for the good in your life. Another effective way to practice gratitude is by making it a part of your morning or evening routine. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you are grateful for, either before you get out of bed or just before you go to sleep. This simple practice can set the tone for the rest of your day, helping you to start or end with a sense of appreciation. In the morning, gratitude can help you focus on the positive aspects of your life, setting a hopeful and optimistic tone for the day ahead. In the evening, it can provide a sense of closure and peace, helping you to reflect on the blessings of the day and release any negativity or stress. Gratitude can also be incorporated into your interactions with others. Make it a point to express your appreciation to those around you, whether it's a colleague, family member, or friend. A simple thank you can go a long way in strengthening relationships and fostering a sense of connection. If you want to deepen this practice, consider writing a thank you note or sending a message to someone who has made a positive impact on your life. Not only will this brighten their day, but it will also reinforce the habit of expressing gratitude regularly. By making gratitude a part of your daily life, you begin to train your brain to focus on the positive, creating a cycle of appreciation and abundance that enhances every aspect of your life. In addition to these daily practices, consider taking a moment each week to reflect on the bigger picture of your life. Think about the experiences, relationships, and opportunities that you are grateful for, and acknowledge the progress you have made on your journey. This broader perspective can help you see the bigger picture and remind you of the many blessings that may sometimes go unnoticed in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Over time, gratitude will become more than just a practice. It will become a mindset that shapes how you experience the world. Chapter 9. Building Unshakable Self-Confidence. The foundation of true self-confidence. Self-confidence is often misunderstood. Many people think of it as a trait that only certain individuals possess, something innate or given, rather than a skill that can be developed. In reality, self-confidence is not just about believing in your ability to succeed in specific tasks. It's about believing in your inherent worth as a person, regardless of your circumstances or outcomes. True self-confidence is built on a foundation of self-acceptance, self-respect, and an understanding that you are enough as you are. It does not rely on external validation or success. Rather, it arises from an internal conviction that you are worthy of love, respect, and success, regardless of what happens in your life. This kind of confidence does not mean being perfect or always feeling 100% certain about everything you do. Instead, it's about being comfortable with uncertainty and imperfection, and knowing that mistakes or setbacks do not define your worth. It's about accepting yourself with all your strengths and weaknesses and recognizing that every person is deserving of love, respect, and happiness, including yourself. Self-confidence is also tied to self-awareness. When you know your values, passions, and boundaries, you are less likely to seek approval from others. You can stand firm in who you are, irrespective of the opinions or judgments of others. This type of confidence creates a deep sense of security within yourself. When you are grounded in self-acceptance, you don't need external validation to feel good about who you are or what you do. True self-confidence also involves an ongoing process of personal growth and learning. Rather than seeing setbacks or challenges as indicators of your inadequacy, you begin to view them as opportunities to grow and evolve. Each challenge you face becomes a stepping stone toward deeper self-awareness, greater resilience, and a stronger sense of self. The key is to stop attaching your self-worth to outcomes. Achieving external success may give you temporary boosts in confidence, but real self-confidence comes from within. It is an internal state that remains steady regardless of your external circumstances. Overcoming negative self-talk and limiting beliefs. One of the greatest obstacles to building self-confidence is the negative self-talk that often runs in the background of our minds. These are the automatic, self-critical thoughts that tell us we are not good enough, not capable enough, or not worthy of success. These thoughts often arise from our past experiences, childhood conditioning, or societal messages. They can be deeply ingrained and may seem almost impossible to silence. However, the first step in overcoming negative self-talk is to become aware of it. Many of us go through our days without recognizing how much of our inner dialogue is self-critical or limiting. Once we start paying attention, we may realize that we are often our own harshest critics. The next step is to challenge these negative thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking something self-deprecating like, "I'm not good enough," ask yourself, is this thought based on any evidence, or is it simply an opinion I've formed over time? More often than not, you'll find that these negative thoughts are not grounded in reality. They are either based on a past mistake that no longer defines you, or are projections of fears about the future that haven't even happened. Once you start questioning the validity of your negative thoughts, you can begin to replace them with more positive, empowering beliefs. For instance, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," reframe it to, "I am capable, and I have the ability to learn and grow from challenges." Another powerful way to overcome limiting beliefs is by rewriting your internal narrative. Many of us have adopted beliefs about our capabilities that were shaped by others, parents, teachers, peers, or society. These beliefs may be based on criticism or discouragement we received early in life. These beliefs can form the foundation of self-doubt and prevent us from stepping outside our comfort zones. To break free from these limiting beliefs, we need to consciously rewrite the story we tell ourselves. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who is doomed to fail or never good enough, start seeing yourself as a capable, resourceful person who has the ability to overcome obstacles and succeed. Rewriting your narrative can be a gradual process, but with practice, it becomes easier to replace negative self-talk with more empowering, supportive messages. Surrounding yourself with positive influences is also crucial in overcoming negative self-talk. The people you spend time with can have a significant impact on how you see yourself. If you're constantly around people who are critical or dismissive of your abilities, it can reinforce your negative beliefs. Conversely, when you surround yourself with people who uplift you, encourage you, and remind you of your worth, it becomes easier to believe in yourself. Choose to spend time with individuals who inspire you and see the best in you, rather than those who perpetuate negative thought patterns. Your self-confidence will grow exponentially when you have a strong support system that believes in you. Developing a growth mindset to build confidence. One of the most transformative mindsets for building self-confidence is the growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, effort, and learning. This contrasts with a fixed mindset where people believe their abilities are innate and unchangeable. A fixed mindset can be incredibly limiting because it leads to the belief that failure is a reflection of one's lack of ability, whereas a growth mindset sees failure as an opportunity to learn and improve. When we adopt a growth mindset, we open ourselves to continuous growth and development, which naturally boosts our confidence over time. People with a growth mindset are not afraid of challenges because they view them as opportunities to expand their skills and knowledge. When faced with a difficult task, they don't tell themselves, "I'm not good at this," or "I'll never be able to do this." Instead, they say, "This is a chance for me to learn something new," or "I may struggle now, but with effort, I will get better." This mindset fosters resilience because it encourages us to keep going even when things get tough. Failure is not seen as a permanent setback, but as part of the learning process. With each failure, we gain valuable lessons that move us closer to success. To cultivate a growth mindset, start by reframing your approach to challenges. Instead of avoiding things that seem difficult or unfamiliar, embrace them as opportunities for growth. Acknowledge that it's okay to make mistakes and that every mistake brings you one step closer to mastery. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem, and recognize that confidence is built through consistent effort and learning. The more you practice this mindset, the more naturally your confidence will grow. As you continue to face challenges, your belief in your ability to overcome them will strengthen, and your self-confidence will become unshakable. Another key aspect of a growth mindset is the ability to receive feedback constructively. Instead of viewing feedback as criticism, people with a growth mindset see it as an essential tool for improvement. They understand that feedback helps them see where they can improve and what they can do differently next time. Embracing feedback with an open mind allows you to continually refine your skills and boost your self-confidence. Rather than shying away from constructive criticism, use it as a guide to help you grow and improve in all areas of your life. Incorporating the growth mindset into your daily life can create profound changes in your confidence levels. By shifting your focus from fixed abilities to continuous growth, you begin to see yourself as a work in progress, capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. This mindset, combined with consistent effort, will help you build unshakable self-confidence, not based on external outcomes, but on the deep knowledge that you are capable of learning, growing, and succeeding in all aspects of your life. Chapter 10: Harnessing the Power of Positive Thinking. Understanding the impact of positive thinking. Positive thinking is a powerful tool, often misunderstood or underappreciated. It's easy to dismiss it as just wishful thinking or a naive belief that by simply thinking positively, everything in life will automatically improve. However, positive thinking is not about ignoring reality or pretending that everything is perfect. Instead, it's about cultivating a mindset that focuses on the possibilities rather than the limitations. A mindset that seeks solutions rather than problems. Positive thinking allows you to reframe your circumstances and see challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and obstacles as stepping stones to success. The impact of positive thinking extends beyond just how we feel in the moment. It can significantly influence our physical health, emotional well-being, and overall success in life. Research has shown that people who maintain a positive mindset tend to experience lower levels of stress, better immune function, and even a longer lifespan. This is because positivity fosters resilience, enabling us to bounce back from adversity more quickly. A positive thinker is not immune to challenges or failures. However, they approach life with the belief that they can handle whatever comes their way, and this belief in their own ability helps them navigate obstacles more effectively. Positive thinking is also crucial for maintaining motivation and persistence. When we focus on the potential for success rather than the fear of failure, we are more likely to take action, persevere through difficulties, and remain hopeful even when things don't go as planned. On the flip side, a negative mindset can drain our energy, hinder our creativity, and prevent us from taking risks or seizing opportunities. Over time, negativity can become self-fulfilling, as our pessimistic outlook creates a cycle of failure and disappointment. By contrast, positive thinking creates a cycle of possibility, where our belief in a favorable outcome drives us to work harder and smarter toward our goals. It's important to note that positive thinking is not about suppressing negative emotions or pretending that everything is always fine. It's about choosing how we respond to life's challenges. Rather than getting stuck in despair or frustration, positive thinking encourages us to acknowledge our emotions, process them, and then shift our focus to what we can do to improve the situation. It's an active, conscious decision to look for the good, the lessons, and the opportunities, even in difficult circumstances. In this way, positive thinking becomes not just a tool for achieving success, but a way of life that promotes mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Practical techniques for cultivating positive thinking. Positive thinking is not something that happens overnight. It's a practice, a habit that must be cultivated over time. Fortunately, there are several practical techniques that can help you train your mind to think more positively. One of the most effective tools for cultivating a positive mindset is gratitude. When we focus on the things we are grateful for, we shift our attention away from what's wrong in our lives and start to notice what's going well. Gratitude encourages us to see abundance instead of scarcity, opportunity instead of limitation. It trains our minds to recognize the positive aspects of our lives, no matter how small they may seem. To begin practicing gratitude, start by keeping a gratitude journal. Every day, Write down at least 3 things you are grateful for. These can be simple things, such as a beautiful sunset, a kind gesture from a friend, or the comfort of your home. Over time, you'll notice that your mind becomes more attuned to the positive aspects of your life, and gratitude will naturally become a more prominent part of your daily thought process. As you regularly practice gratitude, you will begin to see your perspective shift from one of lack to one of abundance. Gratitude helps us to focus on what we have rather than what we don't, and in doing so, it invites more positivity into our lives. Another powerful technique for cultivating positive thinking is visualization. Visualization is the practice of mentally picturing yourself achieving your goals or experiencing success. By vividly imagining yourself succeeding, you activate the same neural pathways as if you were actually performing the actions in real life. This mental rehearsal not only boosts your confidence, but also strengthens your belief that success is possible. Visualization helps you see yourself in the role of the successful person you want to become, which in turn makes it easier to take the necessary steps to achieve your dreams. Start by setting aside a few minutes each day to sit quietly and visualize your goals. Picture yourself accomplishing them with as much detail as possible. What does it feel like? What does it look like? Who is with you? And how do you feel in that moment? Try to engage all your senses in the process and allow yourself to feel the emotions of success. The more vivid and detailed your visualization, the more powerful it will be. With regular practice, visualization can rewire your brain to believe in your own potential, and this belief will drive you toward taking the actions needed to turn your vision into reality. Lastly, one of the most effective techniques for fostering positive thinking is the practice of affirmations. Affirmations are positive, present-tense statements that you repeat to yourself either aloud or silently to reinforce a positive belief or mindset. By repeating affirmations regularly, you begin to reprogram your subconscious mind, replacing negative or limiting beliefs with empowering thoughts. Affirmations help you stay focused on your goals, remind you of your strengths, and reinforce your ability to overcome challenges. Some examples of affirmations include, I am capable of achieving my goals. I trust in my abilities. Every day I am growing stronger and more confident. Or, I attract abundance and opportunities into my life. Choose affirmations that resonate with you and reflect the mindset you want to cultivate. Repeat them daily, ideally in front of a mirror, to reinforce their impact. Over time, these affirmations will become ingrained in your subconscious, making positive thinking your natural default. Overcoming negativity and cultivating resilience. While it's important to cultivate positive thinking, it's also crucial to acknowledge that negative thoughts and feelings will inevitably arise from time to time. No one is immune to challenges, setbacks, or moments of doubt. The key to maintaining a positive mindset is not to avoid or suppress negative emotions, but to learn how to respond to them in a healthy and constructive way. Developing resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, is an essential part of cultivating long-term positivity. One of the first steps in overcoming negativity is to become aware of your thoughts and emotions. When you catch yourself slipping into negative thinking, pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Recognize that this negativity is just a thought, not a fact. By detaching yourself from negative thoughts, you gain the power to choose how you respond to them. Instead of spiraling into despair or frustration, remind yourself that this negative thought does not define you. It's simply a passing moment, and you have the ability to let it go and move forward. Another way to overcome negativity is by reframing the situation. Rather than viewing challenges as roadblocks or failures, see them as opportunities for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? Or, how can I use this experience to become stronger? Reframing allows you to shift your perspective from one of victimhood to one of empowerment. It helps you see the silver lining, even in difficult circumstances, and fosters a mindset that is solution-oriented and forward-thinking. Resilience is also built through self-compassion. When things don't go as planned, or when you make a mistake, it's easy to be hard on yourself and fall into a cycle of self-criticism. However, this only reinforces negative thinking and undermines your confidence. Instead, practice self-compassion by treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend in a similar situation. Remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes and that setbacks are part of the process. By being compassionate toward yourself, you give yourself the space to learn, grow, and continue on your path with renewed determination. As you continue to cultivate positive thinking, you'll find that the ability to remain positive and resilient in the face of adversity becomes more natural. Each time you overcome a negative thought or a challenging situation, your confidence and positivity grow stronger. With practice, positivity becomes less of an effort and more of a natural way of being. By mastering the art of positive thinking, you unlock the power to create a life filled with abundance, joy, and limitless possibility. Chapter 11. Unlocking Your Full Potential. Understanding the concept of potential. The concept of potential is a powerful one, yet it remains largely misunderstood. Many people view potential as something that is fixed, a trait you either possess or you don't, as if it's an inherent part of who you are. However, true potential is not something set in stone. It is, in fact, a dynamic, evolving aspect of your life that can be unlocked, nurtured, and cultivated. Potential is not about being born with certain abilities, but rather about harnessing the latent talents and strengths that lie dormant within you. Just as a seed contains the potential to become a mighty tree, each of us has the inherent capacity to achieve greatness. At its core, unlocking your potential is about breaking free from self-imposed limitations and expanding your boundaries. It's about shedding the beliefs and fears that keep you stuck in mediocrity and stepping into a space of growth and possibility. Recognizing your potential means understanding that you are capable of far more than you may have previously believed. This realization is the first step towards making your dreams a reality. It shifts your mindset from one of doubt and restriction to one of empowerment and possibility. The key is to start viewing yourself as someone with limitless potential, someone capable of achieving whatever goals you set your mind to. The journey toward unlocking your full potential is not a linear one, nor is it without challenges. It requires courage to face your own insecurities, determination to overcome obstacles, and patience to allow growth to unfold at its own pace. But the rewards of this journey are profound. When you unlock your potential, you become more aligned with your true purpose, more capable of handling the inevitable challenges life throws your way, and more confident in your ability to create lasting change. Your potential is not a destination, but a journey, one that, when embraced fully, can transform not only your life, but the lives of those around you. The role of mindset in unlocking potential. A crucial component of unlocking your potential lies in cultivating the right mindset. Your mindset shapes how you view the world and, more importantly, how you view yourself. A growth mindset, as opposed to a fixed mindset, is the key to achieving your fullest potential. With a growth mindset, you believe that your abilities and intelligence are not static, but can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. This belief opens the door to endless possibilities as you no longer see failure as a reflection of your inadequacy, but as an opportunity to grow and improve. Those with a fixed mindset, on the other hand, often believe that their talents are predetermined and unchangeable. They might avoid challenges, give up easily, and feel threatened by the success of others. This mindset can be a major barrier to unlocking your potential, as it limits your ability to take risks, learn from mistakes, and ultimately grow. However, the beauty of the growth mindset is that it can be cultivated with conscious effort. By shifting the way you perceive challenges, setbacks, and even your own potential, you can gradually rewire your brain to embrace growth and learning as natural and necessary components of success. One of the first steps in developing a growth mindset is to change your self-talk. The way you speak to yourself greatly influences how you view your capabilities. Replace phrases like, "I can't do this," or "I'm not good enough," with affirmations that reflect your belief in growth, such as, "I can learn this with practice," or "Every challenge is an opportunity to grow." This simple shift in language can have a profound impact on your mindset, helping you to see yourself as a work in progress, rather than as someone limited by their current abilities. Additionally, it's essential to surround yourself with a support system that encourages growth and challenges you to step out of your comfort zone. The more you expose yourself to environments that foster learning and development, the easier it becomes to unlock your potential. Another powerful tool in cultivating a growth mindset is the practice of self-reflection. Regularly taking the time to reflect on your thoughts, actions, and progress allows you to identify areas for improvement and recognize patterns of thinking that might be holding you back. It also helps you acknowledge your achievements and the steps you've taken toward your goals, which can increase your motivation and confidence. When you make self-reflection a habit, you become more attuned to your own growth and more conscious of the steps you need to take to continue unlocking your full potential. Taking action toward unlocking your potential. While mindset is crucial, it is only part of the equation when it comes to unlocking your full potential. The other vital piece is action. Potential remains untapped unless you take concrete steps toward realizing it. One of the most common reasons people don't achieve their full potential is that they allow fear, doubt, or procrastination to hold them back from taking action. They may feel overwhelmed by the enormity of their goals or paralyzed by the fear of failure. However, the truth is that you don't need to have everything figured out to take the first step. You just need to start. The key to taking action is breaking your larger goals down into smaller, manageable steps. Instead of focusing on the end result, which can often feel daunting, focus on the immediate task at hand. What can you do today that will move you closer to your goal? By taking small, consistent actions, you build momentum and create a sense of accomplishment that fuels further action. The more you act, the more confident you become in your ability to succeed, which in turn propels you forward on your journey. Additionally, it's important to recognize that not all action will lead to immediate success, and that's okay. Sometimes, the road to unlocking your potential is filled with setbacks and detours. It's important not to let these obstacles discourage you. Instead, view them as part of the process, as valuable learning experiences that provide insight into what works and what doesn't. The most successful people are not those who avoid failure, but those who are willing to take risks, learn from their mistakes, and keep moving forward despite challenges. Taking action also requires consistency and discipline. It's easy to become excited about a new goal and take enthusiastic action at first, only to lose momentum as time goes on. The secret to sustained progress is consistency. Commit to taking at least one small action toward your goal every day, no matter how minor it may seem. Over time, these small actions will add up, and the compounded effort will bring you closer to unlocking your full potential. Consistency breeds confidence and competence, and as you continue to take action, you will gain the experience and skills necessary to achieve your goals. Ultimately, unlocking your full potential is a process that requires a combination of mindset, action, and perseverance. It is a journey that requires both inner work, shifting your beliefs and thought patterns, and outer work, taking tangible steps toward your goals. By cultivating a growth mindset, taking consistent action, and learning from setbacks along the way, you can unlock the full range of possibilities within yourself. You are capable of far more than you realize, and with each step you take toward your goals, you move closer to the life you've always dreamed of. Chapter 12. The Power of Positive Habits in Achieving Success. Why habits matter more than motivation. When it comes to achieving lasting success, many people place too much emphasis on motivation, believing that it is the fuel needed to accomplish their goals. While motivation is important in the short term, it is ultimately your habits that determine the trajectory of your success. Habits are the small, consistent actions that, when compounded over time, lead to remarkable results. Motivation, on the other hand, can be fleeting and unreliable. There will be days when you feel highly motivated, and there will be days when you don't feel like doing anything at all. However, if you've built positive habits, you'll still show up and do the work, regardless of how you feel. Think about the habits that successful people have cultivated over the years. These individuals aren't necessarily more talented or gifted than anyone else, but they've developed a set of habits that support their long-term success. They've built routines that make their goals inevitable. This is the power of habits. They transform actions that once felt difficult or draining into automatic behaviors that align with your highest aspirations. For instance, a writer may have the habit of writing for an hour every morning, whether they feel inspired or not. This habit ensures that their writing career progresses steadily, even during times of low motivation. Without these consistent actions, they would never achieve the same level of success. The reason habits are so powerful is that they eliminate the need for constant decision-making. When you develop a habit, it becomes automatic. You no longer have to spend energy motivating yourself to act, and the process becomes ingrained in your daily routine. This is why successful people often report that their success feels effortless or almost inevitable. They've built a foundation of habits that support their goals, and they simply show up to do the work. Building these habits doesn't require a huge burst of motivation. It just requires consistency, patience, and the willingness to start small. Identifying and building positive habits. Now that we understand why habits matter, the next question is, how do you identify and build positive habits that will support your goals? The first step is to examine your current habits and identify which ones are helping you move forward and which ones are holding you back. We all have a mix of habits. Some are productive and positive, while others are detrimental to our well-being and success. To make lasting progress, it's essential to let go of negative habits and replace them with positive ones. Start by reflecting on your goals and the person you need to become in order to achieve them. For example, if your goal is to become a successful entrepreneur, consider the habits that are common among successful business owners. Many entrepreneurs have the habit of prioritizing their time, planning their days effectively, and constantly learning new things. If you don't have these habits yet, it's time to begin implementing them into your life. Begin by setting clear intentions about what you want to accomplish, and then create small, actionable steps to help you develop the habits necessary to reach those goals. To build a new habit, it's important to start small and be consistent. Trying to change everything at once is often overwhelming and counterproductive. Instead, focus on one habit at a time and break it down into manageable steps. For example, if your goal is to exercise more, start by committing to just 10 minutes of exercise each day. Over time, you can gradually increase the duration and intensity. The key is to make the habit simple enough that you can do it every day, even on days when you're not feeling particularly motivated. By building small habits over time, you'll develop a foundation for larger, more complex goals. It's also essential to track your progress and celebrate small wins along the way. Habit formation can be slow at first, and it's easy to get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. However, tracking your progress helps you stay accountable and recognize the small steps forward that ultimately lead to big changes. Celebrating your wins, no matter how small, reinforces the positive behaviors and boosts your motivation to continue. This process of tracking and celebrating is what turns positive actions into habits and helps solidify them into your daily routine. Overcoming obstacles to habit formation. While building positive habits can be a game changer in your journey toward success, it's important to acknowledge that obstacles will arise. Habit formation is not always a smooth process, and there will be days when you falter or feel like giving up. The key to overcoming these obstacles is resilience and flexibility. Instead of expecting perfection, accept that setbacks are part of the journey. When you inevitably encounter challenges, remind yourself that they are not roadblocks, but rather opportunities to learn and grow. One of the most common obstacles to habit formation is procrastination. We've all experienced the urge to put things off, especially when it comes to tasks that feel difficult or overwhelming. The good news is that procrastination can be overcome by breaking your goals down into smaller, more manageable tasks. This approach makes the task feel less intimidating and gives you a clear starting point. Additionally, using techniques like the 2-minute rule can help. This rule suggests that if a task will take 2 minutes or less to complete, do it immediately. This simple strategy can eliminate procrastination by making it easier to get started. Another common obstacle is the lack of immediate rewards. Positive habits often take time to show tangible results, which can lead to feelings of discouragement. For example, when you start a new exercise routine, you might not notice significant changes in your body right away, which can lead to frustration. The key is to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Understand that the results will come, but they are a byproduct of the consistent actions you take each day. Trusting the process is essential to overcoming the temptation to give up before you've fully formed the habit. Lastly, it's essential to create an environment that supports your new habits. Your environment plays a significant role in whether or not you succeed in building positive habits. If you're trying to eat healthier, but your kitchen is stocked with junk food, it will be much harder to stick to your goal. Likewise, if you're trying to exercise regularly, but your gym bag is hidden at the back of your closet, it's easy to skip workouts. By creating an environment that is conducive to your goals, you make it easier to form positive habits. Keep your workspace tidy, organize your daily routine to prioritize your new habit, and surround yourself with people who encourage your growth. By focusing on small, actionable steps, being consistent, and overcoming obstacles with resilience, you can cultivate the positive habits that will set you on the path to success. Remember, it's not about achieving perfection, but about making progress each day. The process may not always be easy, but with determination and patience, you'll find that your habits become the foundation for a successful and fulfilling life. Chapter 13. The Power of Persistence, Overcoming Adversity and Staying the Course. The importance of resilience in the face of challenges. Persistence is often the distinguishing factor between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't. While talent, opportunity, and intelligence are important, they can't carry you through the tough times. What sets successful individuals apart is their ability to keep going, even when the road gets rough. Life has a way of throwing challenges your way, but it's not the obstacles that define you. It's how you respond to them. Adversity is inevitable, and success is often not about avoiding challenges, but about how you navigate through them. It's in these moments of struggle where resilience is truly forged. Imagine you are on the verge of completing a goal, and suddenly, everything seems to fall apart. The business deal falls through, the project is delayed, or you face an unexpected personal setback. In these moments, it's easy to feel discouraged and defeated. However, persistence means pushing through these tough times rather than letting them stop you in your tracks. It's about showing up every day, even when it feels like your efforts are in vain. People who persist have a deep inner belief that their work will eventually pay off, even when the results are not immediate. They know that every step, no matter how small, is bringing them closer to their goal. The road to success is rarely linear. It's often a series of twists, turns, and detours. The key is to stay committed to your vision, even when it feels like the odds are stacked against you. Successful individuals don't see setbacks as failures. They see them as opportunities for growth and learning. Resilience doesn't mean never feeling discouraged or upset. It means acknowledging those feelings, processing them, and then moving forward despite them. The ability to bounce back after a failure or setback is what enables people to continue on their journey, no matter how many obstacles they encounter along the way. Developing a mindset of grit is a crucial component of persistence. It is the combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals, and it plays an essential role in achieving success. Gritty individuals are not necessarily the most talented or the smartest, but they have a deep-seated determination to pursue their goals no matter what. They have the mental toughness to push through difficulties and the patience to keep moving forward, even when progress seems slow. Developing grit requires cultivating a mindset that values effort, practice, and resilience over natural talent or intelligence. The first step in developing grit is understanding that success doesn't happen overnight. It's easy to look at successful people and assume that they achieved their goals quickly or effortlessly. However, if you take a closer look, you'll find that most successful people had to endure years of hard work, setbacks, and failures before they achieved their desired results. Embrace the idea that progress takes time and effort, and don't be discouraged by the inevitable challenges along the way. The key is to keep going, even when the initial excitement fades and the obstacles seem overwhelming. To cultivate grit, focus on the process rather than the outcome. Instead of fixating on the end result, immerse yourself in the daily actions that will get you there. It's easy to become disheartened if you only focus on the distant goal and the obstacles between you and it. However, when you shift your attention to the present moment and the actions you can take today, you break the goal down into smaller, more manageable steps. By doing so, you can maintain motivation and stay persistent, even when the journey feels long. Building grit also involves developing a deep sense of purpose and passion for your goal. When you're emotionally invested in something, it's easier to stay committed, even when the going gets tough. Reflect on why your goal matters to you, and let that passion fuel your persistence. Embracing failure as part of the journey. Failure is often seen as the enemy of success. We're conditioned to fear failure and avoid it at all costs. However, the truth is that failure is not only inevitable, but also an essential part of the journey to success. The most successful people in history have experienced multiple failures, yet they chose to embrace them rather than let them define them. Failure provides valuable lessons and insights that you can't learn from success alone. It reveals where you need to improve, how you can adjust your approach, and what you can do differently moving forward. Instead of fearing failure, you should reframe it as a necessary stepping stone on the path to success. Every time you fail, you gain new knowledge that brings you closer to achieving your goals. Failure teaches resilience. It shows you that you can survive setbacks and continue moving forward. Each failure brings you one step closer to finding the right approach that will lead to success. Successful people don't fear failure. They understand that it is an opportunity to refine their strategies and learn from their mistakes. The key to turning failure into success is maintaining a positive attitude and perspective. When things don't go as planned, it's easy to become discouraged and start doubting your abilities. However, those who persist understand that failure doesn't define their worth or abilities. Instead of seeing failure as an end, they view it as a lesson and a necessary part of the growth process. This mindset shift is what helps them continue to move forward with resilience, even when things aren't going their way. Embrace failure as an inevitable part of success, and you'll find that your capacity for persistence grows stronger. The more you fail and get back up, the more confident you become in your ability to achieve your goals. Persistence is more than just a characteristic. It's a skill that can be cultivated and strengthened over time. By developing resilience in the face of challenges, cultivating a mindset of grit, and embracing failure as a valuable learning experience, you set yourself up for success. Remember, the road to achieving your dreams is rarely smooth. It requires determination, hard work, and the ability to stay the course when the going gets tough. However, if you're willing to persist, no challenge is insurmountable. Each obstacle you overcome brings you one step closer to realizing your dreams. Keep going and trust that persistence will always pay off in the end. Chapter 14. Mastering the Art of Self-Discipline. Understanding the power of self-discipline. Self-discipline is one of the most powerful skills you can develop on your journey to success. While talent, intelligence, and even luck play a role in achieving your goals, it is self-discipline that ensures long-term progress. Without self-discipline, even the most gifted individuals may fail to reach their potential. It is what keeps you focused, motivated, and consistent when the initial excitement fades and the reality of hard work sets in. The ability to delay gratification and resist temptations that derail your progress is crucial in achieving your dreams. In the pursuit of greatness, the world will try to distract you. It will offer shortcuts, diversions, and easy ways out, but true success comes only to those who can stay disciplined in the face of it all. Self-discipline isn't about being perfect or rigid. It's not about beating yourself up when you fall short or missing a goal. Instead, it's about building habits and routines that support your long-term vision. The key is consistency, showing up day after day, no matter how you feel or what distractions may come your way. When you prioritize your goals and manage your time effectively, self-discipline becomes a force that drives you forward. It isn't about working harder, but smarter. By being disciplined, you make deliberate choices about how you spend your time and energy, ensuring that they align with your goals. There's a misconception that self-discipline is all about willpower. In reality, willpower is a finite resource. The key to mastering self-discipline lies in developing systems and strategies that reduce the reliance on willpower altogether. This can include setting clear goals, breaking them down into smaller tasks, and creating an environment that supports your aspirations. By making the right decisions easy, you reduce the likelihood of being tempted by distractions. Ultimately, mastering self-discipline isn't about constant struggle. It's about creating habits that empower you to take control of your life. Building habits that foster self-discipline. One of the most effective ways to cultivate self-discipline is by developing strong habits. Habits are powerful because they automate behavior. When you build habits that align with your goals, they no longer require constant mental effort to execute. Instead, they become second nature. The key to building these habits is consistency. At first, it may feel like a struggle to stay disciplined, but with time, your actions will become ingrained into your daily routine. The more you practice positive habits, the less energy you need to expend in order to maintain them. The process of building habits starts with identifying the behaviors that will get you closer to your goals. Whether it's waking up early, exercising regularly, or dedicating a set amount of time to work on a project each day, consistency is essential. When it comes to habit formation, it's important to start small. Trying to overhaul your entire life all at once can be overwhelming and lead to burnout. Instead, focus on one habit at a time and gradually build on it. Once a habit becomes ingrained, you can add new ones that further support your long-term objectives. Over time, these habits compound, creating momentum that pushes you towards success. Another key element of building lasting habits is tracking your progress. Keeping a journal or using a habit tracking app can help you stay accountable and motivated. It allows you to see how far you've come and provides a sense of accomplishment. even on days when progress feels slow. The act of tracking can also help you identify areas where you may be slipping or where you need to improve. The more you monitor your habits, the more aware you become of your behavior and how it impacts your goals. This awareness is crucial for making the necessary adjustments and staying on course. Overcoming obstacles and staying consistent, the path to mastering self-discipline is not without its challenges. There will be times when you feel discouraged, distracted, or simply uninspired. The key to maintaining your discipline during these moments is perseverance. Understanding that setbacks are part of the process will help you stay motivated when things don't go according to plan. No journey is linear, and success isn't about avoiding obstacles, but learning how to navigate them. One of the biggest challenges to self-discipline is managing distractions. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, emails, notifications, and even well-meaning friends and family can pull you away from your goals. The key to overcoming these distractions is creating an environment that supports your discipline. This may mean turning off your phone during work hours, setting boundaries with others, or creating a designated workspace where you can focus. The more you control your environment, the less likely distractions will derail your progress. Another obstacle is self-doubt. When things get tough, it's easy to question whether your efforts are worth it, or whether you're even capable of succeeding. However, it's important to remember that self-doubt is a natural part of the process. It doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. The best way to combat self-doubt is through action. Even when you don't feel like it, continue to take small steps toward your goal. Each action you take, no matter how small, builds confidence and reinforces your discipline. Over time, your belief in yourself will grow, and the doubts that once seemed overwhelming will fade into the background. The final obstacle to self-discipline is burnout. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and grind, but without proper rest and recovery, you risk exhausting your mental and physical resources. Burnout can cause your productivity to plummet and your motivation to vanish. To prevent burnout, it's important to schedule regular breaks and practice self-care. Incorporating relaxation techniques such as meditation, exercise, or spending time with loved ones can help you recharge and stay focused. Remember, discipline isn't about working nonstop. It's about working smart and taking care of yourself along the way. Mastering self-discipline is a journey, not a destination. It requires patience, consistency, and the willingness to persevere through challenges. By developing strong habits, creating a supportive environment, and overcoming obstacles like distractions, self-doubt, and burnout, you can cultivate the discipline necessary to achieve your goals. The process may be difficult at times, but the rewards of mastering self-discipline are immeasurable. As you continue on your journey, remember that the small daily actions you take, combined with the right mindset, will lead you to lasting success. Chapter 15. The Road to Transformation: Unlocking Your True Potential. Embracing change as a catalyst for growth. Transformation is at the core of every success story. It is the shift in thinking, perspective, and action that allows individuals to break through their limitations and achieve their highest potential. It is often said that change is the only constant, and learning to embrace it is a key element of mastering positive thinking. Change is not always easy. It can be intimidating and even uncomfortable, but it is a necessary part of growth. Without change, there can be no progress. The discomfort that accompanies change is a signal that you are stepping out of your comfort zone, challenging old beliefs, and expanding your horizons. This is where true growth begins. When you learn to see change not as something to fear, but as an opportunity for growth, you open yourself to new possibilities. Every change, whether small or large, holds the potential to teach you something new about yourself and the world around you. Change is the vehicle through which you discover your strengths, refine your character, and uncover talents that were previously hidden. It is in moments of transformation that you become more attuned to your true self, shedding old patterns of thinking and embracing new ways of being. However, embracing change requires a mindset shift. Rather than viewing change as a threat or inconvenience, you must reframe it as a challenge, an opportunity to evolve and improve. This shift in perspective is crucial in mastering positive thinking. To truly embrace change, it is essential to let go of the need for perfection. Perfectionism can be paralyzing, leading to procrastination, self-doubt, and stagnation. It is a fear-based mindset that clings to the idea that if something cannot be done perfectly, it is better not to do it at all. Embracing change requires courage, the courage to take imperfect action, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. It requires accepting that failure is a natural part of the process and an essential stepping stone toward success. When you stop waiting for the perfect moment and begin taking action, you unlock the door to your true potential. The power of persistence and consistency in transformation. Transformation is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing process that demands persistence and consistency. Positive thinking alone is not enough to create lasting change in your life. It must be backed by sustained action. Persistence is the ability to keep going, even when the road gets tough. It is the determination to continue pursuing your goals, even when the initial excitement fades and the challenges seem insurmountable. Consistency, on the other hand, is the practice of showing up every day, even on the days when you don't feel like it. It is about creating a routine that supports your growth and committing to the process, no matter the obstacles. The most successful individuals are not those who never experience setbacks or failures. They are the ones who persist through them. Success comes to those who refuse to give up, who keep pushing forward despite the inevitable challenges. The power of persistence lies in its ability to build resilience. With each failure, you grow stronger. With each setback, you learn more about yourself and your capacity to overcome adversity. When you persist, you develop the mindset of someone who believes in their ability to navigate obstacles, knowing that they are simply part of the journey. Each challenge you face becomes a lesson in persistence, and each victory, no matter how small, is a testament to your determination. Consistency is equally important in the process of transformation. It is easy to start strong, to feel motivated in the beginning, but maintaining that momentum over the long haul requires a deep commitment. Consistency ensures that you don't fall into the trap of starting projects only to abandon them halfway through. It's about building momentum and creating habits that support your goals. When you show up every day, even when it feels difficult, you build a foundation of success. The key to consistency is making small, manageable improvements each day. It's about progress, not perfection. Over time, these small actions compound, creating momentum that propels you toward your desired outcome. The power of persistence and consistency is what transforms dreams into reality. The role of self-belief and visualization in achieving your potential. One of the most powerful tools you have in your journey of transformation is self-belief. Believing in yourself is the foundation upon which all your actions and decisions are built. If you don't believe that you can achieve your goals, you will always find a way to self-sabotage. Self-belief is not about blind confidence. It is about knowing deep down that you have the capability to succeed. It's about trusting that you have the resilience to handle whatever challenges come your way and the intelligence to adapt when things don't go according to plan. Self-belief is essential because it fuels your actions. Without it, no amount of positive thinking or hard work will yield the results you desire. Building self-belief requires both mindset and action. The first step is to eliminate self-doubt and negative self-talk. Often, we are our own worst critics, constantly questioning our abilities and second-guessing our decisions. To combat this, You must consciously replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Instead of focusing on what you can't do, shift your attention to what you can do. Acknowledge your strengths and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. The more you affirm your capabilities, the stronger your belief in yourself becomes. Remember, belief is not something that happens overnight. It's a practice, a muscle that gets stronger with each thought, each word, and each action that aligns with your goals. Visualization is another powerful tool that enhances self-belief and accelerates your transformation. Visualization is the process of mentally picturing yourself achieving your goals, experiencing the emotions associated with success, and immersing yourself in the outcome. When you visualize your success, you create a mental image that your brain begins to treat as reality. This strengthens your belief in the possibility of your dreams coming true and primes your subconscious mind to recognize opportunities that align with your vision. Visualization is a form of mental rehearsal, and research shows that it can improve performance and increase motivation. It works by creating a blueprint in your mind, helping you see the steps you need to take, and making the process of achieving your goals feel more attainable. By combining self-belief with the power of visualization, you strengthen your resolve and improve your chances of success. Believing that you can achieve your potential creates the mindset needed for growth, while visualization primes your mind to recognize the steps necessary to make your vision a reality. The more vividly you can imagine your success, the more real it becomes. And when your dreams feel real, they no longer seem impossible. In the end, unlocking your true potential is about cultivating the right mindset, embracing change, staying persistent and consistent, and believing in your own abilities. Positive thinking is not a passive practice. It is an active process that requires dedication, effort, and a commitment to personal growth. It is about seeing opportunities where others see obstacles, believing in yourself when others doubt you, and taking bold action even when the future is uncertain. By following the principles of self-discipline, positive thinking, and perseverance, you will not only unlock your potential, but also realize that the impossible is within reach. Your future is waiting, and it's time to take the first step toward making it a reality.